Okay, so continuing from the basic form we have, let's go to a form we can see. So shaded probably. There we are. You can see all the details there. Want to put this curve pattern. This is the wedding band, and we can see that it starts, and it's not real symmetry, but it's not going to make a massive difference on there. So, and then I don't know what size stone, but bear in mind it's a 6mm band. We can see that that stone is probably, it's quite a big stone. Yeah, that's going to be a slight challenge in terms of the depth of the stone, so we'll just have to look at that. You can't have a 5mm stone. That's it's like a 75 pointer. I suspect this wedding band is probably only about 2.5–3mm across. Well, getting the center stone out isn't a problem, of course. You know how to do that. So gems, find your diamond, and let's go for 3mm. MSR. We can position this. It's probably best looking through the finger. Now what we need to do, of course, is make sure that the whole thing is submerged into the metal. Otherwise it's going to look a bit weird. So it's going to need to be about there. Okay, we'll leave that as it is at the moment. I'm going to change the color of that for clarity. Okay, so now we want to put this curve on the band. There are many ways of doing it, but what I would probably do is go to all 4 windows and start off using this one here. So I choose red as a layer color so I can see it, and then up in the curve menu I'll probably use probably use arc direction, so we can start off about here, finish it about here, and then give it its curve however we want to do. So now I've got that, I might just want to bend it round. This gumball here, have you noticed this is the Rhino gumball, and you can turn it on and off this way. So using these controls we can get it to where we want. Using this square box we can slide it around, getting it to where we want to be. So you can decide exactly how you want it, what angle you want it at. If you want that coming round a bit more, we could do another one. We could actually draw it, of course. You tend to decide. So this one here could work really well if you want to make it asymmetrical. So if you see, it's not quite the same on both. So let's use that one. I'm going to delete the first one. To say we're happy with that and the position of that, might want to just bring it away from that stone slightly. Okay. Now, as you can see in this viewport, this is now down here, which isn't an awful lot of good. So we've either got curve from 2 views, or you can actually just project it. So if we come up to this section here under the curve menu, under the top page, looking through some of these, you've got pullback and you've got project. So if we hit project, select the curves and the points to project. Well, it's that, and we hit enter. Now we hit select the surfaces and poly surfaces is going to project to, which of course is that, and we hit enter. Now that's great. Because we've done it the easy way, what we've actually got is 4. It's it's fine, because what we can do is just delete the excess. So press enter, come away from this, escape rather. So now we just highlight these individual ones that we don't need. This one in here. And then we've just got that one that we want. So that's quite good. So now we've got the curve, we can highlight it, and of course gem on curve, which you know. I always find now I've got that, it's not always so easy to see. So I want to come out of that, or just go back a stage, take them off. I'm going to change this to ghosted or X-ray. I want to be able to see inside. So now I'm going to wake it up again. Gem on curve. And I've got my start and end position, so I'll take them to the end, grab that, bring it down to where I want it to be at the start. Now I think from that picture they kind of look tapered, and it looks like you've got a couple of claws in between each. So let's see if we can replicate that. It may not be tapered, we'll look at both options. So up here your object type is around gem. Gem tops on curve, it's important that it's yes because you want them flush. If you hit no, they'll be protruding, and that's going to break off, you'll damage them. So gem tops on curve, no. Culet direction is F4, which is the middle of the earth, and that's probably okay for that ring, but what I would probably do is change that to the object, which is that, and that way any curvature, the stones will bend towards the curvature of the material and not protrude. Everything else, spacing method, fine, snap to corners, fine, flip, that's fine because they're the right way up. Your ones were the wrong way up. You just click flip and it will go upside down the right way. Mirror, I don't need to do that. I'm working on a single line at this stage. Taper diameter is yes, so that gives me the ability to adjust one end and then the other end separately. So if I wanted to have them uniform, I would hit taper diameter equals no, and then this control disappears, just giving me one control down here which controls everything. Spacing, I can do that manually. If you click yes, it just gives you that option. Show prongs, no. Well, we can put them on separately, and style. So let's leave that at the moment. Let's look at the spacing. You've got 0.2 of a millimeter. Now on the one that you showed me, your stones were actually clashing because you probably did them on the surface with a gap and then brought them down. So once they were inside the metal, they were too close together. So spacing, this is the finished position. You can then adjust the spacing based on budgets. Now it's only 0.5 mil between them, so that's probably okay. And then the start size, well, again, you have total control on the start size of the stones, and of course as you reduce them, more stones will be added. So the smallest you'd like to get about 0.9. You probably wouldn't get much over, but we'll try and put some sort of 2 mil stones in. Obviously hold the shift button and it will go to the zeros and tens, so 1.2.1, 2.2, 2.3. That's by holding the shift button down. If you take your hand off, then it's any number. If you need a particular size, of course, you can actually type them in here or make the adjustments this way, or just override it. Okay, so then we've got 2 mil, the spacing 0.5 mil. Let's bring that down a tad to say about there. Slight variance in the spacing. You can see that there's not one at the very end, and we've gone as far as we can. Let's just look at what can we do about that? Start size 205. Okay, let's get it. There you go, so 2.01, and that gives me visually what I want to do. So I'm happy with that. I'll press enter. Right, so now I can see that these gems are flush with the top. They look to be evenly spaced. I'm happy with that. That's slightly on the edge of where I would rather be. If I think I need to move that at all, I can wake that up. Use the curve menu. I want to be looking down. Perhaps move the whole thing over slightly. Enter. And that buggers the whole thing up. Alright, so just be aware that if you do these things, it has a consequence to that. So press Ctrl Z or undo up here. But you've got to press enter first. So come out of that command and you're back to square one. One more time and you got to where you want to be. If you want to move them all over, you can do them this way, of course. Again, be aware. You're manually positioning these now. So these may have moved very slightly, but I think we got away with it. It was just a minor adjustment. I think it's better. So happy with those. So you can, of course, put the other side on now. So that's the easiest thing to do. So I do need to be down the looking down view for this, and you'll see why in just a moment. So highlight those stones. We are going to use the rotate with copy. Now if you look up here in this area where it next to the word main menu, when you hover over it without touching anything, it says left click equals rotate, right click IR, L and R, rotate with copy. If I just left click rotate, it's going to move them. If I copy, it's going to put them in place. So I'm going to right click, center of rotation is F4, which is the middle of the earth. I'm then going to hold the shift down and then left click, let go, and then left click again till it snaps into place, and I'm done that way. Press escape for the second one. There we are. So that's given me that curve that way, that curve that way. Had I done mirror, it would have put the same curve in on the other side, so it'd be facing the wrong way. Now you've got this sort of wave effect, which is what you want to achieve. From here you can put your channel in. So now you can highlight your gems. Now you can't just do channel builder from here because it will connect the two together. So press enter and delete that. What you'll need to do is to highlight one section at a time. I've got that curve highlighted, so put Control and untick that. So I've just got the gems highlighted, and now we can do channel builder. Go to perspective. In case you've not used this before, this defaults to what it thinks you might like. It gives you 90. It gives you 90 or 95%. So basically, it's going to leave metal 10%. 90% means there's 10% metal left over. You need metal left over to set. The extension is 0 at the end. If we want to extend that, we can move that. I've got to be a little careful about the extension on that end because I haven't got anything left to play with. Now the height of this I can adjust and drop it down if I wish. Height 100%. 100%, that means 100% of the stone. Okay, so I'm not going all the way through, so I'm going to leave it at 100%. If I was giving it to the setter, he might say, well, give me something to work with, in which case I'll give you 110%. Hit OK. Now if you want to have a look at this, go back to wireframe. Now, problem. You've cut so much away that the ring's going to fall in half. So go hit that, press delete, weight those stones up, channel builder, oops daisy, and then you can't do the 100%. So you've got to come up. Let's just try 80%. Now that shape might not be the right one, so you can always go to the cloud, which is the patterns, and you can now see what you've got to play with. So actually that's going to be better, isn't it? Because then the diamond can taper the way you want it to do. So working on that one, we should be much better. We've got that tapering, we've got that end going on, and I think we're going to be a lot better off with that as a model. And now you've got, at least you've got some metal left to work with. So it's just as easy to highlight that. You could of course design this. Let's just do it that way because it does actually make sense. Highlight both of these. Control on the ones I don't want highlighted, and then go down to right click on copy. Now there are reasons why you don't do it through this window, and I will show you because it's quite amazing. So from F4, okay, it worked in this case. Sometimes it goes off in the wrong tangent. So we've done what we want to do. We're now going to go to the Boolean method under Tools. It's the two balls here on the bottom page. Two balls is the logo we use. The object will always be the metal or the shank that you're going to use. So drop it into the box by hitting the triangle. The cutters, well, we know what the cutters are. Is that orange part and that orange part, or you just click the actual right click on the actual color itself and drop it in there, and it says nice big tick, the model's okay. If the model was not solid, it would be and across. I want to difference, so I want to cut one from t'other, do Boolean. Okay, we can close this, have a look at that, go back to this mode, and you can see you've got what you want to achieve. I haven't done this one yet, so let's just do that now. That's going to be calling a gem cutter. Again, the pattern, again, we can do the same thing. So I don't want to do that, the stone will fall out. So I'd want to do that, or that's even better. Let's do that one there, because that's going to give me everything I want and nothing more. Let's use that one. Again, scaling 97%. Let's bring it down to 90%. Let's say I'm happy with that. Boolean. Now I've used it once, it's dropped up at the top. Anything you've used recently does. The object would be the shank. The cutter's this. I don't need to keep it, do Boolean. There you go. And finally, we cut the gemstones, prongs, and there's a style sheet just to bring it over here so you can see it. So here we've got the ability to have double prongs, double claws, whatever you think is right for that style. So it's fairly small, but we'll try that one and see if we can get away with it. Positioning these is the nudge, so you can actually space them out. It's having a bit of a fit, but let's just try and, there we are. Let's leave it, say it a bit. I'm struggling with that, so I'm going to use the manual slide, nudge till I get to where I want to be. So I've just used the manual slide to control it a lot better. By default, the height will always be manufacturing height. See, the setter's got meat to work with, so the height you can adjust. If you just want to show the render, you can leave it quite low. Now you can see it starts to change a little bit. It's not the end of the world, so we'll leave it and I'll just press enter. Okay. So now I want to play around with these claws because one or two of them are in the wrong place. So I will wake up the claws and I'll ungroup. So now I can grab an individual claw and move it. Move it, move it, move it. And I also need to add a claw and put one at the end here and probably remove that one, delete, and just move that into position here. I can now hit the duplicate that model there. I need to be through the right fingers view, otherwise it's going to look weird. So I'll do that. It's going to be the wrong angle. I don't want that one. I'm going to duplicate this one. Duplicate from there to, oh, snaps are on, turn that off, to there, and then do another one there. There we are. So what I might do is, as we did earlier, delete that one and just move that one. Let's have a look at it. Just be aware, moving these around, you need to make sure that you don't do what I've just done here. You find them in the wrong place. So where I moved that last one, I thought it was moving along here, and I thought I was moving it, and what I was actually doing was moving it in the wrong place altogether. So you just need to make sure that it is in the right place. Again, I'd angled it because it was in the wrong place there. Angle it again just to put it back in. Now I moved that, I didn't duplicate it, which is a bit of a silly thing to do. So I'm just going to duplicate that from there to there. Now I think I double clicked, I did, so just delete one of those. Okay, and just move that around, move that into position. Again, this I think we could move over a tad. Now if you need to make that claw slightly bigger, just grab one of these boxes with the shift down, it'll make it, if I do that one, just grab that, it'll do one direction at a time. Okay, if I do that with shift down, it will make it three-dimensionally larger. So you just think about how you might want that. Okay, again, the setter would obviously make one larger if he thought that was more relevant. Again, I think I'll do that here. Position. There you go. So you can play around with this. This is the sort of level of detail that you need to apply to make sure the model is absolutely right. Now you can actually see, for example, the stone isn't touching that metal there at all. So you might want to just beef up those claws. Alright, so you can do that individually. Click on it and then just drag it in one direction at a time. Doesn't make it taller that way, but it will make it thicker. and you can do that and slide it. These squares here, they'll move them on a single plane. So just check it over when you're finished, make sure that it looks right. I haven't put a claw on the end, have I? Look, there we are. So left click, duplicate up here, from here to here, right click, enter. And you can see that's gone there. It's a little bit low, so we can just lift it up a bit and maybe just bring it across using the slider, and perhaps just beef it up slightly. There you go. Highlight these, we can delete these now. You should find that that, my friend, is all good. Let's just render that. White gold looks really nice as a colour. I think that was also white. The smalls, you know what you're doing here. So you're going to choose alphabetical, so you can choose diamond. And the center stone, whatever you fancy. A ground plane is this one here, and all it does is put a sheet of paper at the bottom. So what works quite well are something like non-reflective white. So grey matte light is quite good. Apply that. I would almost certainly lay this down. I think it looks nicer. So you need to highlight the ring. Now this is where you do sometimes find having the history on causes a bit of a problem. So one thing I can do is rotate from here to here and lay it flat. Sometimes with a busy model you will find that some of the stones break up. If you're going to do that, save the model first and then turn the history off, which are these two buttons here. So now we've done that, got a nice image, we should be able to render. Oh look, I still missed that claw. I thought I'd put it on. I bet it's there. It is there. Look, right in the middle. Look. You have duplicate objects, continue rendering equals no. So what it's done, it's showing you, and it's highlighted what's duplicated, and it's that model there. So I delete that. Oh, that's moved as well. Okay, you're gonna have to forgive me. That let's just go over here. Again, I've got two there. Again, I think I must have in place and then in there. Yeah, I think I've done it right this time. Right, it's quite smart. It asks you, it tells you, look, there's duplication. So now I hit render, see what it says. Oh, it's coming on the other screen. I'll just grab that. There you go. Again, you've got a strange curve on the light playing silly games. So what I would do is perhaps angle it just like that. See if it makes a difference. And render again. The light is the same as a camera, so it'll reflect light. You can change the light setting, of course, the environment, and that'll make a difference. But I'm pretty certain that's where you want to be. I hope it helps.